share what's going on here in York.
Makes you feel like a family.
Local art has a face that most people can relate to.
Our community up here that sticks together.
Art is art.
Great potential. Great artists, poets, singers, writers, directors, filmmakers. It's fantastic. Everyone has a story to tell.
That moment, you have to capture that moment and share it with the rest of the world.
Showing something that maybe has not been seen before.
Without art, it's just like
I am art. I've been art ever since I was born.
It really adds a great deal to our community.
We don't really need art to exist, but you need art to live.
Culture in Maine is important, and I think playing it out is important, and playing open mics and playing wherever you can play. It's all about us all checking in with each other.
I'm Boots, Boots Inners. I play guitar and sing. I write the majority of the music.
My name's Catherine. I play bass. I also provide backup vocals as well.
Hi, I'm Logan, and I'm the drummer, and I play Saul sometimes. The musical Saul goes, woo, 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 woo.
And together we're the Baggage. All right, so this song is called 130 Miles. I wrote this after I drove back from San Diego because it was an awful, awful long drive, and we didn't get to do anything fun. We were in a rush, so driving back from San Diego, I saw a sign that said York, Pennsylvania, 130 miles away, and wrote a song. And I was fatigued from the road, so yeah, here it goes. 130 miles outside of my hometown, and I don't know if I can make it. You said that you understand me now. Why do I gotta keep putting my goddamn foot down? 130 miles doesn't seem so far. Caffeine no longer works. My eyes are heavy, my muscles are weak. I gotta keep those damn pedals under my feet. How long is this goddamn road anyway? I just wanna get some sleep. How long is this damn road anyway? I started playing music at a pretty young age and started playing in a lot of punk bands and whatnot. Eventually, I went on my own and did just acoustic for a while. Met Logan a couple years ago, drank some beers with him, and we decided that he's going to play drums for me. Went from there, I started playing electric again, and then recently we met Kat, and she started playing bass for us, and here we are on public access. So
Yeah, Boots found me up in New York City playing the oboe at Carnegie Hall. It was a feature piece.
it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up meeting Boots the first time at First Capital Dispensing Company, where I was playing bass solo in the open mic. After a number of weeks of going back and forth and playing with him on stage, he eventually asked me to play for him.
We are taking over, well, we took over already the open mic at the First Capital Dispensing Company on Wednesday nights. Shane Spiel, who used to run it, came to us. He approached us and asked us to follow in his footsteps, which those are some really big shoes to fill because he's amazing. He's incredible. We accepted the offer, and I think the beauty of it is it's kind of self-sustaining. The musicians are going to come out to this open mic regardless. It's the best open mic in town, hands down. It's where real musicians come out. They're not just a couple of college kids playing, Bon Jovi covers or whatever. They're coming out, playing their originals, pouring their heart into it, and that's just incredibly important. And Shane Spiel did tell me we are going to become better musicians because we don't have a choice. It's just part of running this open mic is you have to keep it fresh. You have to keep playing new music. So we're gonna give it hell. I think, like I said, I think the best part about this open mic is it's the one to go to. It's the one that everybody goes to. It's everybody knows each other. It's such a strong community there. It's not just random strangers judging you because you didn't play Freebird or whatever. It's a beautiful open mic. It's wonderful. Want to add anything?
No, I agree completely with what Boots said. We do have some really big shoes to fill with Shane Spiel leaving. But
we'll do it.
Yeah,
Totally.
we'll do our best to add our own flair to it. And also, even though we're still kind of identifying the music that we're playing and the style we're playing it in, we don't have really like a gimmick like the Cigar Box open mic, but we do plan on having one hopefully within the next couple months.
We do have sweet bandanas though, so we got that going for us.
And the saw.
And
a saw.
All right, this next song I wrote, I think I was on a train from Philly. Yeah, that's when I wrote it. It's about the people you meet and the strange places you go. So mostly Philadelphia. Shared a laugh with a man on a train at the expense of another's social mistakes. I never got that man's name. He was going to a different place. Met a girl on a park bench once. Well, I didn't really meet her, but I did see her. She had a look on her face of impatience, as if her time had been wasted. And I thought, man, it must be hard to be a face in the crowd, but some faces just stick out. Like a rainbow in December or a winning scratch-off ticket, and maybe I can be that face someday. Oh man, forget it. 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 Met someone in line at the 30th Street station. She made a comment on the stickers on my guitar case. She said, "You look interesting enough. You can carry a
December or a winning scratch-off ticket, and maybe I can be that bass someday. Oh man, forget it. 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 Oh man, forget it.
I think the best way to describe the music in York's area is it's an eclectic kind of roller coaster ride of a mix of country and hip hop and like anything you can really think of, just taking you through all the emotions of music in general. And then if you mix it all down and throw it into one area, which usually is the first cap, that's kind of what you get out of it.
Well, and actually, like, if you compare it to some of the other towns around here, you got a lot of places around here have a lot of places to go and see a show. But like York is the only one around here where the music scene underground and like in the bars and things like that really caters to local bands. Whereas if you go into some of the other surrounding cities, you're maybe lucky to catch a house show here and there, but York, like, there's a lot of outlets for local bands to really play in front of people and come into their own.
This one's about a girl. Don't you know that traveling is more than just backpacking out with a bottle of pills? Feelings are all turning, you want to see it all burning, but you don't want to have to rebuild. Comes and goes with you. Aren't you sick of feeling blue, wishing you hadn't done what you did? Things will never be the same, and somehow I'm the one to blame for you taking off with those kids. Accordion is what you hear. It's interfering with all of your thoughts. I know that you run two ways. You're splitting it into one day, and somehow this is still my fault. Something that people don't know about me. I play a lot of video games, actually. I'm a total nerd. I read a lot about astrophysics, and yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm an engineering major, so yeah, I'm a total dork. But yeah, that's probably it.
Mine would have to be, if you can't tell by my voice, is that, I'm one of the only trans open musicians in this city that I've met. I'm very big in the transgender community, and I'm also, been trying to fulfill a role model like status ever since I met my idol Lara Jane Grace earlier this year.
That's a tough one to follow because that one has so many feels. But I mean, in case you couldn't tell by my percussive prowess, I'm actually a single millionaire. Recently single, so look out. But I will tell you a little secret that's half true. But other than that, I just spend most of my time mixing down classical music that I've recorded. But yep, that's about it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything better than either of you. I mean, now I feel like I need to step it up or something. Like, I drive a Mini Cooper. That's pretty cool, right?
Don't do it.
Yeah, go to college, get a good job,
Grow up.
do it for fun. Don't think it's gonna be your actual job, because
yeah,
it doesn't
I think
really
that's
work out.
Never, ever, 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 ever take yourself too seriously, because that's when it gets boring, and then people fight on the tour bus and stuff like that. Because I mean, our tour bus is pretty big.
It's really huge,
but at the end of the day, we're still on the road with each other. 56 weeks out of the year.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty terrible.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really can't follow that up very
Cat's
well.
the serious one.
Yeah.
I'm just the dirty liar.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about the music, and it's all about having fun and enjoying yourself. And it should never be work. You can make that your focus, and you can make a career of it, but you shouldn't make it your job. You're just gonna end up hating it.
I hate it now.
And just go to open mics too, especially Wednesday at the First Cap. These guys right here running the show. But it's just a good way to get exposure, and a good way to just get rid of the jitters, just to go out and play in front of people.
Yeah, and at our open mic, we definitely, we don't care what you're doing. We are going to support you regardless, unless it's really, really, really bad. Like, if it's really bad, propaganda and stuff, we'll cut you off. But if it's good stuff, music, we'll help you out. Do you believe that your dreams can really come true? Or are they reserved for a select few? The paths that we're on aren't always the ones that we choose. Direction we're in is subject to change. Feel like you're sort of worth it? nothing we can do to save it. High expectations and a sizable debt. The only things that the baby boomers left, a lack of resources and a crash market. Don't tell me to work harder because you're the one that started this. We are a blank generation, and there's little we can do to change it. We suffer from the mistakes of your generation, and there's nothing we can do to save it. Oh, we are a blank generation, and there's little we can do to change it. We suffer from the mistakes of your generation, and there's nothing we can do to save it. All right, that's it. I think we're done.
Vulcania Graphics and Fine Art in downtown York. We do fine art printing, so these are all printed on fine art canvas, which is what we do. But I primarily use my iPad. I start with sketches, and from there I can kind of smear the sketches together and then texturize, add some texture to them. There's apps for sketching, there's apps for texture, apps to do stuff to your photos. There's probably like, I don't know, 12 to 15 apps I'll go back and forth and use. Some apps do some things better than others. But it really starts with a sketch. I mean, you need to start somewhere. I used to use photos a lot for my artwork, and I'm trying to get away from using the photos and going back to hand sketching. So I use my own photos as reference to help me with composition, to figure out maybe like how a bird would fly, you know. So I use my own photos for reference, but I start with a sketch with my hand. Each step of the way, I save the file and then go on and do another step and save a new file. And I've been noticing that the pieces, by the time I end up being happy with them, maybe 50 to 70 steps. The easiest way to explain it is, I mean, if you had a pen and paper, you're going to be drawing lines. You're going to be shading in shadows. It's really not that much different. The hard part is learning the apps, you know, testing them out and say, oh yeah, this app is good at drawing. Maybe this app is better, has some better paintbrushes. Maybe I'll use both. Maybe I'll use one or the other. You really just need to play around with the apps and see if they'll give you what you want. If not, find another app, try that one. start off with like an idea. Maybe I want to do something that represents something to do with peace. Or a lot of times I'll just sketch and make up stuff, and then I'll be like, oh, that's starting to look like this. I mean, some of my pieces are specific, like an eagle or a hawk. I took all those pieces up to Rich Riley's for tonight. But like this piece, for instance, I wanted to do a Native American figure offering something. Who knows what? It could be tobacco, typical offering of peace and blessing. But I also wanted to do like a wolf type figure. And I was happy with the way the figures were working. And I'm like, well, it's a peace offering. That's what it's about. Wolf typically can be like a wolf symbol can be interpreted as loyalty to family. So it would seem appropriate to have wolf be along with the figure. I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of make up things, and I let the viewer go from there. I mean, let them finish the story. Let them add the details. I don't want to tell someone specifically what they're looking at. It's not. I want them to get from somewhere else what they want to see. Like for instance, this piece is called Untold Story. In a lot of native traditions or even ancient cultures, information was passed down by storytelling, not so much like written word or nowadays like email. And stories would change over time, and maybe they would be adapted. Maybe they would be adapted to what the culture was currently going through at the time. And so, like this, for instance, is Untold Story, and this is a story that hasn't been told yet. But once it gets told, then it will change, and maybe the next generation, different characters will be added. So it could be, this was just my idea, but it could be like a story that hasn't been told yet. And it's interesting to see what different people see in the story. I had an old teacher from high school say that she saw somebody jousting, and okay, that's cool. Do you want to make up your own story? Maybe you can hand down your own story to your children, or that was just kind of my idea. But all my artwork is kind of based around that kind of example. Like Spirit of the Red Horse, I made it up. There's no specific story that this is referencing, but it could be a story maybe that it would reference for you. I may not necessarily know.
I am Theresa Rodriguez, and I am mainly a singer. I grew up and have been singing my whole life, and I'm a voice teacher and a poet and a writer. So that's kind of, and a mother of 6 children and grandmother of almost 3. I gave birth to a poem the other day. I labored for 12 hours in a rhyme. I centered, conjured, wombed, throbbed, then gave way to empty out the fullness of my time. And in the waves and ebbs and flows of life, by blood and pulsing, bearing down its course, I think I gestate, for the pangs of strife are sperm to my ripe, beating ovoid source. Oh, I'm aching! So intense are the squeezings and the earth's tides of pain. I move about, then settle in to call with open heart my brain canal again. For writing is the labor of the mind, and I have birthed my children all in kind. Oh, originally I'm from New York City. I grew up in Manhattan, but I live out in Pennsylvania Dutch country in western Berks County. So that's where I'm living now. I am a performer because I'm a singer, so I think it translates very easily from me as a singer to bring the emotional depth that I have as a singer into how I like to perform my poetry, because it's still my soul. It's just a different way of expressing it. This in a more literary way, whereas music might be literary and musical combined. So that's I feel that I bear my soul when I'm performing, whether I'm singing or reciting poetry, which is actually something rather new for me, because was doing other things with my life and had other issues, and so now in my 50s I feel like it's kind of a flowering. It's a time of flowering for me. It's beautiful, and I'm really, really excited and thankful for the opportunity to share my poetry with people that love words and would love to hear my heart in words. I have no shelter from the bitter storm. I have no refuge or a hiding place. I have no sanctuary, solid, warm, secure, or safe. No rest, respite, or solace. In endless, fruitless journeys, I uproot what little hold I make, only to mourn and transplant all my withered, sickened fruit again to other soil, tired and worn. How great the evil in me, or the sin, that this perpetual harvest, reaped and sown, this endless nothing, this bitter wheel, will win the fight. I cannot fight alone. A fireplace, wood floors, wallpaper, earth, a settled bed, my children's future, mirth. Well, I write for a magazine called Classical Singer, and it's geared mainly towards professional opera and classical singers. And so my degree is a Master of Music in Voice Pedagogy and Performance. So I teach singing per se, but I also write about singing because I always did that. So I've written different articles for Classical Singer. The most recent one that I just came out was called The Psychological Benefits of Singing. So I go into some of the actual what actually makes singing so good for you. Why is it? William Byrd, who's a Renaissance composer, said, since singing is so good a thing, I wish all men would learn to sing. So I kind of go into why is that a good thing? Why is singing good? Why should you sing? What are some of the benefits? One of the most basic benefits of singing, of course, is keeping you from being depressed. And so I also, segueing into another thing I've written about was mental illness. And I wrote a 2-part article series for them on called The Bipolar Classical Singer. And one of the poems that I've written, which I'll be performing tonight, is called To Be or Not to Be Medicated. And it delves into the kinds of problems that people can get into with medications, and that how, as a creative person, it can actually dampen your creativity because it dulls you to a point of sort of apathy or blighted emotion, as they say. So, and I write about that and how frustrating that can be for someone, and I'm one of them, who's had to encounter that, and how I've struggled with it really throughout my life. And bipolar disorder exists in a high frequency among artists and musicians. So therefore, it was probably inevitable that it would happen to me. So I've struggled with highs and lows of emotions. I do have some poems that deal with other issues regarding, mental illness in a candid and honest way, because I feel like, it's not. I don't want it to be a stigma. I want it to be truth. I really want people to know that if you have an illness, it's not your fault, and it's okay to write about it. It's okay to let people know, so that you don't have to be in shame. To be or not to be medicated. To burst unfettered in the manic way, the talking mouth that cannot stop to rest. Are you to say I cannot be this way? My fast brain bursting full of better best. I sing, I write, I make. But can these be if creativity is dulled inside of me? If sentience devolves to reticence to fit the current psychopharma sense? How can I make the songs I sing so deeply, or make the heart that hears it cry so sweetly? I burn with heat as my pen works the page. How can a dullard bring the sage words of a sage? If neurons misfire, why misfire mine? My flame will burn right out without a rhyme. You seek to keep the highs and lows at bay. You seek to even out the peaks and pits. But how can trees weave branches in the air when they become attenuated bits. My burst is lost. I love to burst. I love to bear a child in a poem. I love to labor 12 hours at a rhyme, to give in words a newly labored tome. I love to touch. I love to feel. I love the sounds and hues of silk and steel. If diamonds and rust escape the sensory, why do you seek to take it all from me? Yes, but see, you are complex. Your mind is broke and needs a kind of fix. We cannot have you runabouting, living, breathing, singing, shouting, and thinking too much too. So this is why these meds are good for you. Yes, I know. The points on a momentary snowflake sparkle so. But yet, if you were to smooth it smoothingly, what shape would then the perfect snowflake be? In fairness, I do go low into the abyss. This pit is not when twirling my skirts, but rather when I render splits into my sides until it hurts. I can make tombs of closets on my bed, for sleeping hard and long can make you dead. But to a point, because I wake again. 'Tis true, this ebb can flow out in the end. Oh, to straddle polar poles and not to sway. Healers of neuron makers and transmitters, give me back my brain's peculiar fritters. Pharma, grant no side-effected me. And Psyche will dance in manic reverie. Thank you. Care less. I warned myself. Bother no more with inner crevices. Prying the shell like scabs, rough, oozing, sore. Which crust, but tell of tumults against the psychic seabed's floor. It is in vain. Swollen and hard around the meat, like newborn skin or the vaginal flower. The protection, obdure it, damns me. Damn the mound, which buries my soul and suffocates what little power my will may afford. That meat, that flower, that skin, a pulsing pinkish mass, is thus entombed. And yet, for her to exist at all, the wound must needs be sealed by this guardian within. She lives within her shell. Perhaps she dies as well, because it makes and mutes her cries. What will begin in thought will end in deed. A striking of the skin and flesh and heart. Then the friction, giving way to bleed with red relief. Like tears, which know no part of reason or of sanity, but flow responsive to the need to rip and see a mirrored wounding from without. Although that one you touch, the other is not free, except in reciprocity, to splay itself of earthly to the earth. And then this ugly skinding will display until a salve of time will show its worth. For memories can thus become unmade, and pain can ease, and even scars do fade. I'm in the process of writing a book, my fourth book, which is going to be called, or is being called, or is called, Warning Signs of Abuse. Get out early and stay free forever. I was in a 21-year lengthy marriage of abuse, and I was able to get out of it, but it took me a really long time. And I want to I'm writing this book to specifically for women involved in heterosexual relationships, and I'm trying to encourage them to see the warning signs in their partner, husband, whatever they are. So if they see those signs soon enough, they can really get out of it. And I'm telling them from the experience of having done it. I look back and I analyzed it and I said, that's the sign that I saw. If I had seen that and left, I could have gotten out early. There's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. And I see it so clearly now. I could not see it then. So I'm writing this book as a means, and I'm writing it purely as a Kindle book because I want to be able to give that as an opportunity for women who are literally living in an abusive situation where their husband or partner or whoever they are could come into the house and see them with a book in their hand that says warning signs of abuse. They could get beat up for that, and I'm not going to allow that to happen to anybody. So if I have it on their Kindle and if they're reading it on the internet or they're reading it on their phone, they could click it off real quick. But hopefully it'll be a means for them to get some advice and some wisdom from someone who's been through the trenches and could say, I've been there. I really can tell you that you need to get out if you see these warning signs of abuse. So that's my fourth book. I did write a book. My second book was called When Adoption Fails. I am an adoptee, and I found my birth mother when I was 22. So that book deals with my growing up in an abusive home with people that were involved in a really weird religious cult. And so I endured a lot of things and left home at 15, and so that's kind of the story of why I felt my adoption was a mistake. And I really do. It was a mistake. I can prove it by documents and other things that I was never meant to have been adopted by these people. And my first book I wrote when I was a mother of young children, called Diaper Changes, the complete diapering book and resource guide. And I still am a Earth mother, and I was into cloth diapering, and I was writing parenting articles for Mothering Magazine, parenting, baby, different things. So that was back over 20 years ago. So I was writing those things, and I was doing writing for parents. And I'm not really doing that anymore, but because I'm doing mostly classical singing writing. But getting back to Jesus and Eros, which is the name of my book, which I will let your beautiful audience see, is my book. And as you see, there's a silhouette of a woman, which happens to be my body, because it happens to be me. And I left I left it ambiguous there because, as you see, Jesus and Eros. And you could look at that title and wonder what it exactly means. And I say to you, what does it mean? I'm asking you to think about what it might mean. And it could be, is that supposed to be you being like Christ? Is it Jesus identifying with the sufferings of women? What? That's for you to figure out, because I left it that way. But I love Jesus, and I also am a person full of Eros and have experienced a lot of Eros. And my poems, and Eros in the terminology that C.S. Lewis describes it as, means being in love, romantic love, not eroticism per se. It really doesn't have anything to do with that, because he talks about using the term Venus as in that type of writing as sexual love. But this means the heart, the emotional state of love, from his book, The Four Loves, which I highly recommend. So I present this in honesty. I present this as a woman who loves Jesus, who's also suffered. I've done things. I've made mistakes. I bear the responsibility for many things that happened to me, and I also have a lot of things that happened to me that were not my fault, and yet I'm still here, and by his grace, and I have some things to share. So that's kind of why in my later years, decided to finally put my poems together, and also for the legacy of my children and grandchildren. I could have loved you. Then you offed your body, and thus your soul and spirit. Oh, dear one, whom I could have held and helped. Your sprightly mind and tender heart was stretched and spun to be a complement to mine, like two among a sea of many. In the time of our derangement, I had found you true and earnest, wanting, hoping to align yourself to me. We almost made a home together. What if we had done it? Could this act have saved you? In a poem, you spoke as I speak, but you should be speaking still. And now, without you here, I realize my inaction cost you dear.
No rosary, no gold coin nor tarot will I've wandered around these hills in the dark. Only the gods know for how long a time. 7 stars over Sicily shine down on my I don't wanna remember Earthbound archangels in the Strait of Messina walk golden beaches, white hips and gold. Theresa and Maria and black-eyed Lucia offer saintly embraces, not one can hold. 7 stars over Sicily shine down on my lonely room. Before love's blackest mystery, I don't wanna remember. Dress me in my grandfather's black flannel suit, a procession of drummers and a high silver flute. Lead me to the sacristy, no shine on my boots, then depart and be gone. I wish solitude. 7 stars over Sicily shine down on my lonely room. Beggar before love's blackest mystery, I don't wanna remember you. I rose up reeling from my sleeping place and dreamed I was dancing a tarantella. And I pulled forth my hood for to cover my face. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. 7 stars over Sicily shine down on my lonely room. Beggar before love's blackest mystery, I don't wanna remember you. Thank you, thank you.
Bring it Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We are so glad that we had you with us here on the corner of Culture and Maine, York's weekly cultural showcase. We'll be back again next week with more great artist profiles, behind-the-scenes footage, and visits out into the community of York and Adams County, seeing what's going on with the art scenes of poetry, music, dance, and theater. But in the meantime, please make sure you catch up on all our back episodes. Check us out on YouTube at White Rose Community TV. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. Send us your emails at cultureandmaine@gmail.com or visit us at wrct.tv. We want to hear your videos. We want to hear your opinions, your suggestions, and your show ideas. But mostly, we want to help entertain you and show you what a great community you are a part of. We're really glad that you chose to let us into your home, and we're really excited to bring you more fabulous art next week. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again soon on the corner of Culture and Maine.
I'm really excited about this. I love the atmosphere. I just want to know more about it.
I see it evolving, changing, growing, and I like it.
It's fleeting. Once it happens, once a song comes out, once a poem comes out, it'll never come out the same.
Some of the Culture in Maine is documenting what's going on in a way that will have that lasting staying power.
It just breathes